Think of the people you interact with every day. Would you want to spend a day in a canoe with them? Hi, I'm Nathan Mercero, CEO of Planning Alternatives. We're a disruptive brand in the financial planning space with a point of view that true wealth has nothing to do with money. Growing up in a small town in Canada, I experienced examples of families with money and without. It started me on this journey of understanding wealth and the idea that spending a day in a canoe with someone could be one of the best investments you could make. Join me as I sit down with leaders, entrepreneurs, creatives, rule breakers, and friends to discover their perspective of true wealth. And maybe you'll start to shift yours. Today, I'm delighted to welcome two guests to Day in a Canoe, Lindsay Droz and Kristi Lord of Levant Collective, who co-founded and created a company that provides natural, non-toxic luxury cleaning products. Lindsay, Kristi, welcome to Day in a Canoe. Really looking forward to hearing your story and what was the motivation that started Levant.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. What a treat.
Do you want to start, Kristi, or do you want me to?
Sure. Yeah. The motivation for Levant really came probably 10 years ago. The key motivator for Lindsay and I was we wanted to own our own business. We wanted to start something. And we were in our mid-30s, had both very successful careers. I was in finance and Lindsay was in medical device sales. And, I had 15, 20 plus years in those careers. And we're just ready to take something on our own and but wanted to have some passion behind what we brought out into the world. And so we troubleshooted in a lot of different ideas, and we ultimately, where we were in our life 10 years ago was with a lot of young children, babies and young children and pets. And looking around into what you bring into your home, you start to kind of notice that a little bit more when you become new parents. And from anything from the types of foods, or we were dabbling into clean beauty. This just felt like the next thing. And I was like, why is anybody questioning like the cleaning products? And for me personally, my son had eczema and my middle son developed eczema and my older son didn't. So I was researching how this could have happened. Was it something that I'm doing? And realized that most of the products I was bringing into my home were harmful to his skin. And so did a deep dive to understand what those ingredients were and started to strip those products out of my home, whether it was the shampoo, conditioner, the cleaners in the bathtub, the laundry detergent, pretty much anything that touched his skin there were, these harsh ingredients in there that were impacting him. So I started to get real hippy dippy and DIY my own cleaning products, then was feeling really good about that and shared that with Lindsay. And, we kind of started this little thing together where we were, making up our own formulations. They were awful, but we put them in, pretty glass bottles. And at the same time, I had remodeled my kitchen and did not want neon blue dish soap, neon yellow, neon green, like all this ugly cleaning products. They're out visibly. And so that was kind of a light bulb moment for us. We're like, wait a second, like we need to create a product that actually works, because we found the plant-based cleaners on the market at that time were not effective, that's safe to use and actually fits into the aesthetic of how homes look today and how people care about their homes today. So that was a light bulb moment for Levant.
Amazing. And when did Levant kick off? What year was that?
Yeah, we launched about 4 years ago. So, Kristi and I had been working on the formulations for probably 3 to 4 years prior to that. So, opened up an LLC, and that was the first kind of start to saying, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to go together on it. And the launch came right after COVID. So COVID started in around March of 2020, and we were able to launch in December of 2020. So ultimately, 2021 was our first big groundbreaking year. And a lot of people ask, did you launch because of COVID? And we had been working on this 3 to 4 years prior to that. So it just so happened that it took that long to get our formulations right, to get all of our packaging, to get marketing and legal and all of that set up. It took a long time.
Yeah,
A lot longer
ultimately,
than we thought.
yeah, definitely a lot longer than we thought. But ultimately, I mean, those weren't our backgrounds. We didn't come from product development or marketing a brand. And so it really took us a long time to figure it out. But, you know, in in the stage of life that we're in, but also like where we're at right now with technology, being able to launch a product and get it up on a website, uh, you can do that. And I mean, Shopify helped with that. And people who are consultants who have built their businesses and gone out on their own. That's how we found our formulation chemist. That's how we found the gal who did all of our branding. They were just independent individuals who took their skill set and went out on their own. And we found them and hunted them on the internet and were able to bring our vision to life.
Amazing. I know in our family, and my wife especially was very focused on getting some of those toxic chemicals out of our household. And it's just uncanny how common it is, whether it's things that we put on ourselves through soaps and shampoos or things that we ingest through even
Mhm.
dishwasher liquids
It's
and
so
things like
true.
that. So really, really happy to hear that you've dove into this initiative. Diving into starting a business and jumping on the entrepreneurial roller coaster is not an easy task at times. What's been the best thing about building this business, and what's been one of the hardest things? Like, what's the range of perspectives that come to mind over the past 4 years?
It's so funny that you asked that. There's the range. If we were a disease, we would encompass all of it. And that's not the best metaphor, but it
No,
is.
I was thinking like roller coaster. Let's do something fun. She comes
Roller
up with disease.
yeah, disease, a roller coaster. Yes, you've got the ups and downs and all that, but the highs
Yeah,
are
you're
so
curing
high.
disease with your products. Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
was getting a mental illness. I'm like, that's not right. Or so there's just so many highs, there's so many lows, but in such a great way. And getting into entrepreneurial it's not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart because you do have to be able to waver through those motions and still be a steady state as you're building a team because we are continuing to build and climb this, the hillside in the back of you to get to the top. And right now we're the market leader in the bougie kind of home care space from a retail perspective. We're in the majority of retails throughout the United States, and it's truly been, that's been such a great thing. But I think you asked too, like, what's one of the biggest highs? And the biggest high for me personally is, the not only just building our great team that we have here in Levant and building this community, but it's building the community outside of Levant. So what we built online, what we built on social media, and being able to connect to that customer who absolutely loves and is obsessed with Levant. So that has been such a high um, for us. I know every time someone says, "Oh my gosh, I see," they send us pictures all the time of, "I see you in this store or in that store," or "I bought your product for a friend," and they love it. That obsession has just been such a high for us. As a low, there's so many, but the fortunate thing about going into this business is that I went into it with a partner who I can experience those lows with. And, having someone who is your equal, but yet your opposite in your skill sets. When I'm having a bad day, Kristi can bring me up and vice versa. When she has a bad moment or something frustrating on her side, I can bring her up that way. So it makes those lows a little bit less. That'd be my
Mhm.
perspective.
For me, the highs, the fact that we had this idea and it turns out that people actually want what we created. So that is so validating because you have conviction when you come up with your idea and you think it's going to be great. And there's a lot of people out there that we talk to that it wouldn't fly. And so to be able to create something that people actually love and want more of is that's what keeps us fueled on a daily basis. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of lows, and yeah, my lows are different than Lindsay's because we have totally different sides of the house that we take care of in the business. But when I'm low, Lindsay pulls me up, and vice versa, which is great.
I noticed on your website you list the Enneagram
Right.
for each of you.
Yeah.
Whose
Yeah,
idea was that, and who's one and who's three?
Kristi's
that was
idea.
my idea.
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Lindsay's a 3 and I'm a 1, which I think the 1's more analytical based. Um, yeah. And three's more free spirit sales based. Is that right? I can't
Uh,
even remember anymore.
Dreamer, strategic, just
Yeah.
like more group, uh, bringing in people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I think the partnership aspect of business is a very interesting dynamic, and 1 plus 1 can equal 3 with the right combination of partners. 1 plus 1 can equal 0 with the wrong combination of
That's
partners.
right.
So how do you cultivate that kind of alignment of partnerships or your partnership function and flow? And then what advice would you give to other partners of maybe lessons that you've learned or things, when to say yes, when to say no? Like maybe you can unpack some of the path of learning that you had in that front.
Yeah. I think for me personally, when I decided that I wanted to start a business, I knew I wanted to start a business with somebody else who had the skills and was comfortable in areas in which I'm uncomfortable or don't love to do. And I think being in your mid 30s to late 40s, you start to be very comfortable with who you are. In my 20s, I wanted to be everything to everyone, right? If there was something that a job that I couldn't do in my current position, then I was like, well, I'm going to figure that out. And like, there's a lot of things I'm not that good at and I don't need to be. And so ego aside, Lindsay is like, has all the things that I was looking for in a partner. And, so we fit so well that together that way. And I view her as a marriage. And so as far as how do we continue to work together, it's a lot of ego aside. We make decisions together, but there's compromise.
Mhm.
There's a lot of compromise, and there's just a mutual respect as far as in
Mhm.
it's very similar to a marriage. I mean, this has to work. We're not getting a divorce, and so how do we solve problems together? We think very differently, and so we're able to bring different things to the plate. We see things from different angles that mostly complements one another. And so, I think you want that in your business partner. Don't be looking for somebody that thinks just like you. That's the recipe for disaster.
Mm.
And you brought up the 1 plus 1 equals 3. I would say 1 plus 1 equals 4 in our ways. I mean, I've talked to so many people that have had partnerships and seen writing on the wall. It is, we just are able to fill each other's gaps, but also too, we came from very, uh, male-dominated industries before that most of our colleagues were men, and men and women tend to, chat differently when there's conflict, and usually men get it out, and then they move on, and that was ultimately what Kristi and I were forced to do in our early careers, that when there was conflict in the workplace, you talk about it, you dig it out, and then you move on. If you hold a grudge, then it does nobody any good. So we are really, I mean, if there's a conflict in our end, we'll get through it that day and then we move on. But you talk about it, you communicate. The recipe for disaster is getting a partner that, everyone says don't go into business with your friend. Kristi was my friend, so we're, I think, the opposite of that. But what is important to do is typically your friends are almost your identical person. Do not grab that person that you love most dearest because you guys just connect so well and you're the same. um, if there were 2 Kristis or 2 Lindsays, I think it'd be really hard to make an
Work.
argument that this would work really well. So, it's just a beautiful thing, and, I too wanted that same, partnership that Kristi mentioned too, that I didn't wanna do this by myself because I knew I had so many gaps as well, and, it truly has worked out great.
What do you think are the advantages of being a female entrepreneur? Because I think there's like a skill set that often is missing in a male dominated industry, which you alluded to. So
Yeah.
what's been your superpower in this space?
Well, I think that I'm a firm believer of having all voices at the table, having both male and female, but we just happen to be both female, and there's a lot of advantages to that. I think for us, we're incredibly resourceful and scrappy. we're also very much the mindset of, bringing that customer first. So it's not profits first, it's customer first, product first, making that right. And then we know that profits come with that. So I think for us, it's very much customer centric and product centric. First would be my thoughts there.
Yeah, and I really think women love to collaborate. Our door is open with other brands, with other founders. We lift them up. We promote them on our social. We talk about them. We share best practices. At the end of the day, like we get to walk away with this incredible community. If anything, we're walking away just like the expanded community across this country of all these female founders. And as female founders, we talk about it all the time. Like as far as in like the men do this, like we are constantly getting together and talking and sharing and promoting and cross promoting and how can we work together to grow our businesses. And I think that's where females really shine.
That's fantastic. How do you also balance your family life and that whole tension between business, work, and family and self-care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good question. Like we don't,
Yeah.
is the answer to it. It's just absolutely impossible. If you're going in to be an entrepreneur, you have to go all in. There's no just we're going to have work-life balance. It just doesn't happen at all. Kristi and I are constantly working 24/7 all week long. And did we anticipate that? Probably not. But there's no other option. If we're not doing that, then the rest of the people that work with us aren't going to have a job. So I think that our family has taken unfortunately a little bit of a backseat. The positive thing is that both Kristi and I have the most incredible husbands and partners uh, that are able to take on that role that maybe a traditional mom does. But also the one thing that is different between male and females is that women still have it on their plate. When we get home, there's still the jobs and stuff that we need to take care of. We need to sign the kids up for camp, because the husbands don't do it. We still need to do the grocery shopping and all that. But ultimately, there is no balance.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
running a family business once you flip the switch
Exactly.
from the corporate business. Kristi, what do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I was say for me, I've had to rearrange priorities at this stage of my life. And Levant is like having a newborn every day. And we've had this newborn for 4 years, since launching. And I think we're kind of entering toddler stage, it feels like, Lindsay, maybe.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Maybe we're getting there. And so priority wise, it's like I just have to say no to a lot of extra curricular stuff, then that's usually around like friends and so it's Levant and family, and that's kind of my pie is the only thing I have time for, and that's okay. This is just this stage of life.
We really focus a lot at Planning Alternatives with helping our clients define what we call true wealth. What's important in life, what's fulfilling, what brings meaning, sense of purpose. When you're rooted in the business, my question is, what is true wealth to you? What is the most fulfilling? And it can be the business itself and what you're doing, or it could be other things. But I'm curious about your point of view around what's most important from a fulfillment standpoint at this stage.
I mean, I'm what like I'm truly fulfilled in where we're at even right now. It is exactly what I dreamed it would be, creating a product with Lindsay that is successful. And we have so much love that is surrounding us. Our family supports us. Our community of Levant customers are supporting us and cheering us on. We feel it and see it in social media every day. The other founders that we're friends with and are able to support and help grow their businesses. I mean, every part of this is it's so fulfilling. And like at the end of the day, if this grows bigger and we get to sell it one day, Lindsay and I talk about all the time that we're going to look back at this time this is it. Like, this is why we're doing this. Like, the work is the fulfilling part. It's not the end goal. It's the work. And it is so much fun.
Yeah. And I would add to that, I tell Kristi this all the time, that I am the happiest I've ever been in my life, the absolute happiest. I'm also the most poor I've ever been in my life. So what is so fascinating to me, and why that is a big deal, is that the job that I had before, I had everything I possibly wanted. I made great money. And that was ultimately what I thought that I wanted, was just to blow. That was success to me. And once I hit 40 and I had all the money, I had the house, I had the kids, I had, the dream life, if you will, I still felt empty. And ultimately what I realized about myself is that when I stopped learning and when I got comfortable, I stopped growing. And right now I'm growing every single day. I'm never bored. I'm not comfortable at all. And that to me is such, I think, a fundamental piece of that. Feels so successful that I'm continuing to be hungry and wanting to learn. And that's what's making me happy. So happy right now.
Love it. Well, I want to congratulate you both on such a aligned business project, and you're fueling each other, and you have a sense of purpose, and you have a sense of mission, and you have personal fulfillment that is rooted in it. And I think that's a combination that's rare. And thank you for sharing with listeners all your insights. It's been a privilege to spend time with you, and want to wish you all the best in the days ahead.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much. It was fun to talk to you.
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review. To discover what wealth means to you, please take our assessment at planningalt.com.